Welcome back, fellow armchair generals, to our look at Imperator Rome from the perspective of Ptolemaic Egypt. This is Gamer1745 here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and of course you can like the videos and share this with a friend. We're continuing from earlier, and I did this. Local citizen ratio desire. Yes, it does help that out. How many citizens versus freemen versus slaves? I'm not entirely sure of how the whole mechanic is calculated. I just haven't really looked into it. So if you want to increase freemen in the city, you'll build forums. You want to increase citizens, you'll build libraries. Now again, these are using Roman terms. I don't think there was this distinction in the Greek world, in the Hellenic world, between citizen and freeman. A freeman is really sort of technically a former slave, but might also include people that don't have citizenship rights but are not slaves. Where I don't think you're going to have especially in a monarchy, like most of the Hellenic world was at this time. Because I don't know if there's any real republics or what would be the democracies, I should say, for the Greek world. Any real democracies running around in the Hellenic world. That had almost entirely been discredited by that point. That either you're sort of a citizen of the state or you're a slave, and so there's not really so much of a distinction. I'm looking at this and this is more of a class distinction than a social status distinction here, or a legal status distinction. I don't know. I always say that. Okay, yes, wood, sure. Light infantry offense improved, cool. So we're trying to increase our trade as much as possible. Okay, preeminent Legos. Oh no, we're gonna ignore all of this and lose a little bit of popularity. I don't like those events. I just try to sort of ignore them. Okay, which one has the best? Okay. Yeah. Let's build a okay. Expensive. We may do that later. Let's improve some of the cities a bit more. A little cheaper to do. So I'm pushing most on the economic. Yeah, there's some missions coming up with Egypt that I'm going to go down the road with some of that stuff. And I'm going to wait for it. Right now I'm focusing on economic building. We are trying to increase our income. How well did the different religions get along? Fairly well, actually. Unlike this game, which we can look here, we will see over time a spreading of Hellenic religion. That really did not happen. the Ptolemies basically set up, and there will be some missions in this game that feature it. The Ptolemies set up into the interior of Egypt Macedonian colonies, if you will. Again, talking about trying to get the phalanx soldiers to settle down, one, to make them loyal to the Ptolemies more than where the gold is the best, not necessarily. I mean, there are cases where at sort of key moments, generals take bribes to switch sides. But mostly, it's either the Belisarius is losing, so he's not successful, so they go to the successful camp, because there's that sort of success element in what we'll call Macedonian kingship element, as opposed to legitimacy or other sorts of terms. There is a success element there, as well as simply budgets, meaning if peacetime, you're in somebody's army. Oh, wait a minute. These other guys are at war. They're paying better money. Let's sort of like go and join these other guys. There's definitely some of that stuff going on. Leaving one. I don't know if it's quite desertion, as opposed to, because I don't know their terms. There, to the best of my knowledge, there wasn't like, oh yeah, like the Roman Legion, it's 20 years. You sign up, you're in for 20 years. No, I don't think it was quite like that. It's follow where either the fighting is good and you're on the winning side, or, because there's often periods of peace, go where the money's best. Ptolemy is trying to say, hey, establish roots, be here. And so they're setting up their sort of own separate colonies to do that. And it's also to put loyal, ready soldiers to deal with a potential, which there's actually very few of. Historically, but potential Egyptian revolts, but they're sort of separate. The one place that they really sort of intermix is Alexandria, and there's remarkably little, but conflict, to the best of my knowledge. But there's also I don't know how neighborhoody it was. Like this neighborhood's Greek, this neighborhood's Hebrew, this neighborhood's Egyptian, this neighborhood is Gauls. We can get into the Gauls that are the Gauls that are growing up in Egypt as well, or other distinctions in there. I don't know how much neighborhoods, or just simply they're not trying to become one. They're not trying to become Alexandrian or whatever, as to have one sort of blend. They're all sort of staying their own thing, as best I understand it, while being in Alexandria. Yeah, but it is predominantly a Greek city in populace and in culture and style. So it's sort of get along by not treading on each other's toes, if you will, by not trying to, oh, we are the right religion, you're the wrong religion, or any of that kind of stuff. And this goes back partially to the Ptolemies themselves, and when they get coronated, and then go on various religious processions and go through the religious duties of, and we'll get rid of him in a moment again, because we don't want him. He's likely to cause a civil war. They're dressing in Egyptian styles. They're going through to the, because there is a massive temple here. We can see here the Great Pyramids, local civilization, local slave happiness. And by local, I think it means this province. I don't know if it just means this one territory. I'm not sure. But it is definitely not empire or whatever wide. That, so they're going and behaving in an Egyptian fashion, honoring the Egyptian gods, going through the rituals of Egypt, and behaving in that manner. But once they're back in Alexandria, for the most part, they're living and dressing in the Greek styles. So it's again sort of a two-front way. And so an Egyptian living up in this part, you realize they don't have newspapers. I don't even know how much of a town crier they had. So when they see the Ptolemies, as well as most of the government bureaucrats in the major cities, they're all Egyptians. And the Ptolemies are looking like Egyptians. And sure, yeah, up here we get, like some Hellenic colonies. And they may be aware that, oh yeah, over there 30 miles, there's this, Greek colony set up that's a town with a bunch of farmland. And they may have thrown off, obviously, a bunch of local Egyptians. But that probably wasn't anything unusual in which, landlords are throwing people off, just messing things around, going on their own. Okay, now to deal, that army is gone, so what we need to do is recruit cohorts. Again, I want the cheapest one again. 10, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it looks like 10. Okay. Because unfortunately, he is now back as primary heir, and we don't want him. We want Ptolemaeus. Oh, what is this? Okay, some people ability to stay away. This is okay. So he gains oratory even though he has dementia. Yeah. Okay, there is religion in the ancient world. Is an interesting topic. There are obviously religious wars going on, and wars named fighting in the name of religion, but not necessarily against people who believe differently. You find in the Greek world often they are, Athens, Athena, the sort of state religion, Athena's on our side, she's fighting with us versus, I don't know, Apollo or whatever, I don't know, some other city-state. So sometimes it's within that religion is brought into it. But there is remarkably little attempts at mass conversions. You have, and again, some of this is just simply, I think, because not so much what I've read or been taught, but I think what is remains from the fall of, we've lost, more literature is lost than is currently in existence because of the fall of Rome. But it's sort of what has remained. You have the one sort of religion that is absolutely not trying to convert others, but grows into a monotheistic religion. Starts out just simply honoring the sort of Jewish God as primary, but and not honoring other gods, but not denying their existence, to sort of becoming a monotheistic religion. You have the Jews. Now, the Jews are not out there trying to convert other people. You have the Romans, as their empire grows, because of the deification of the emperor. You have to be a Roman citizen, and they try to do at some point universal citizenship. I don't know quite how that worked with the slaves. I don't think they were citizens, but that's sort of under Marcus Aurelius, I think, is universal citizenship of those in our Roman Empire. That you have that, and to sort of be a member of public society, you need to sacrifice to the gods, which are to the state god, which basically just means pouring a little bit of wine at the bottom of the statue. Well, they sort of kind of didn't pay attention to the Jews not doing it because they were a small minority, not trying to impress their religion on anybody else. But the Christians refused to do this, and And this is something that's sort of a problem and causes religious problems. So let's just say, this is my understanding, and I'm sure I very well could be wrong, but say an Egyptian who believes in the Egyptian gods, he's in Rome. He believes in the Egyptian gods, but he's not trying to deny that the Roman gods also exist. He just worships the others. But they say, oh, well, to be here and do this, you have to pour some wine on the statue to this Roman god. Okay. I mean, it's not like, that they're like going, oh, I don't believe in Hathor or whatever, it's Isis or something. It's sort of like, yeah, Isis is my main god, but yeah, sure, this other god, yeah, well, I don't want this other god mad at me. So there's sort of, that is sort of going on and is quite common. Okay, we have our, I think, 10. Let's put them back up to here. This is my cheap way because I can't kill easily. And we need to make, okay, he's at 0 now. Here we go. Oh, he's not happy. And we're going to send him adventuring. Yes, go ahead. Go adventuring. So now we've again... He's now our primary heir. Okay, disloyal character, civil war coming. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. Okay, why can't we bribe him? Can't execute him, we can't assassinate him. We try to make friends with him, but that's not like... Okay, why can't we bribe any of these people? Why aren't we able to bribe them? This replaces bribe as your ruler has orator or silver tongue trade. Okay. Persuade. Okay. That's very good. I didn't realize that. Okay, so what we want to do here is, let's start here with researcher. We can spend this. I would like the opportunity to bribe if we wanted to. Okay, we're no longer facing civil war, but let's see if we can get this other guy. He's the one that, the bottom one here. I want the top one. He is a little more friendly, so we will try to persuade him as well. Use up some of the estate. Okay. We want to avoid civil war at just most any costs. Time traveler appears and hands out AK-47s. Yeah, that would last for a little while. Then they'd end up shooting the ammunition in the first day, and then go, yeah, more magic beans, more magic beans. What? Wait, well, I don't have any more bullets, and so that would go away really quickly. If you know what, if you ever looked at any video of the Middle East and you hand out guns, everyone starts shooting them into the air. It's believed that the other people's gods had powers just like theirs. Yeah. Well, blanket statements, of course, are imprecise and incorrect because there's a bunch of people already, fairly on in the Roman Empire are no longer believing that the gods are real. Okay, our client state up here of, what's this called? Kos leader wants to offer friendship to our Basilius. We'll accept that. You can only have so many friends within this game. The Romans, let's see. So, yeah, I don't know how much it's a, and I don't know if it matters. but I'm sure on some academic level it matters. I don't know how much the Romans believed in sort of a single pantheon out there, and that's all that existed, versus how much they wanted to co-opt other pantheons to Rome's service. So, Poseidon, very, very old god. Very, very old god. I don't know if he was originally a god of the sea, but he's very, very old. He goes back to, Minoan culture, and my understanding, very early Minoan culture. Long before new gods like Zeus comes into play. Okay. But Poseidon is basically the Greek god of the seas. Well, the Romans have Neptune. Now, it comes to being that Rome associates Neptune with Poseidon as just simply the same god under two names. And wherever the Romans sort of go and they find another god that's of the sea, that's just, our Neptune under a different name. And they'll even do, and I don't know if we have, let's come here. Okay. Sometimes, and I don't know if they do much of this in this game, they will put the local god's name sort of in front of or behind or whatever the Roman god's name, and sort of hyphenate them, if you will, or some such thing like that. So they're trying to co-opt them. I don't know how much they believe that they were the same god, just different names, or simply trying to co-opt local belief into the Roman system. And I don't know if it matters, but they very much do that. Hello, Juice Luddy. No, I haven't changed the title after we were playing Hoi 4 earlier. We are currently playing Imperator Rome. I'm talking about the ancient world. Veterans do. Okay, after wars, toil, and hardships, it's with hopeful eyes the veterans of our armies look forward to retirement, a life of rural farming with promised farmland often parceled out to the most deserving. Recent circumstances have led to great droves of retiring soldiers clamoring for this quiet life, seeking counsel from the generals and leaders. Philochelus Tomoloid, I'm sure I'm butchering that, has been appointed on behalf of our generals to negotiate a complex arrangement whereby we might assuage our tired veterans and to yield some reward. We should be very wary of what might occur should we refuse. Okay. Commanders like bribes, don't they? So we can give them bribes, pay a bunch of money. We get we get our current leader's loyalty, army, whatever. Okay, we don't need their support. We lose stability. I don't want to lose stability. So we can afford, we're making sure we're maintaining a balance so we can afford to pay the money. Okay, the Olympic Games. Do we send him again, or do we send this? Yeah, we send him again. That means let's see if there's a better researcher, or just, but we're not going to keep sending. Yeah, okay, we'll just switch out to researcher. Just changing it on more and more platforms becomes a pain. Pretender support. Okay, well. Okay, let's look at our family situation here. Okay, they have a couple of children. Again, all the wrong names. More wrong names. All the Ptolemaic males were named Ptolemy. Okay, he needs... Okay, what's his age? 25. Okay. Okay, Arsinoe. Yeah, sister sounds good. Let's see, look at the traits, lustful, that means children. Okay, she's sick, we can deal with that, and selfish, that's fine. So, I wish we got better warnings for some of the sickness. We will seek treatment, we'll pay the 200 to do that. All of, the Ptolemies were named Ptolemy, often with an additional name attached, but definitely all Ptolemy. And all of the women were named 3 Greek names. There's very, very little marrying outside of the family, but even then I think they may have changed their name. It's always Arsinoe, Berenike, or the most famous name of the family, Cleopatra. Those are all Greek names, not Egyptian names. So when you watch the movie The Mummy, or the first one was great, the second one was good, the other one was just okay, and you hear calling out for the ancient, super ancient queen that married the older pharaoh, Arsinoe. Yeah, no, that's a Greek name. No Egyptian would have that name, Arsinoe. It might be later on just naming because the queen is Arsinoe, might be in the Ptolemaic era, but no, that's a Greek name. Berenike, where we get Bernice in the modern world, name comes down through that. Berenike is Greek, and of course Cleopatra is a Greek name, not an Egyptian name. The remake. Have you thought? I like the I don't know what the Mummy #1 or whatever in the 90s or whatever. I thought that was great. Okay, so concluded. We didn't win, but we got a little bonus for popularity for sending them off. Yeah, that was good. The second one was okay, or I still think sort of good. I think the very first one was great, but for that, and then the last one where they go to China, it's okay. Okay, treatment is successful. Oh, the Tom Cruise. No, I never saw that one because I didn't like what I was hearing about it. Yeah, actually, an air rifle might not be a bad idea. Depends on how modern you get. But I don't know, the mercury-based percussion cap would be, because black powder is easy to, or fairly easy to make, sort of unpleasant, but makeable. Flintlocks, of course, could be done, but yeah, you definitely have a point there, IQB. Yeah, I didn't even go down there. Okay, the city of Ptolemais, which no, that's Berenike. Where's Ptolemais? It's I've been been playing this enough recently. I think it's over here. No, I didn't want to. Don't want to touch that. No, I don't know where it is. Okay, wealthy preacher capital today. However, Berenike Magrid has offered to spend sizable quantity of her wealth in constructing a grand temple to Ares, the Greek god of war, if I'm not mistaken. She's for embarking on construction. Okay, popularity gets temple. Okay, yeah, let's just see where that is. Oh, what did I type in wrong so far that it's messed up? Okay, PTOEM. Okay. Yeah, Ptolemaios. I knew there's a bunch. Okay, well, I was just missing it by a little bit. Okay, it was partially covered up. Okay, so there's nothing there now. Sure, we'll take a temple there. Well, wherever that went. For bullet molds wouldn't be that hard to do. Beeswax, yeah. Interesting things you come up with there, IKB. But yeah. But one of the hardest things to replicate the technology, I don't think they'd be able to do it. Where a flintlock or caplock musket. But you see, no, I think I'm going to disagree with you because fulminate. I don't know how hard it would be, and I either read or watch something and I entirely understand how to create fulminated mercury. But then I forget after an hour or a day or whatever the formula. Because if I ever go time traveling, I wish I could remember these things. Because if you can do fulminated mercury, I don't know how hard chemically that would be able to recreate. Creating the caps, the percussion caps on a cap lock would be fairly easy to do. And then lead isn't that difficult to get. And making gunpowder isn't that difficult to do. Again, I only vaguely remember the formula. I've known it exactly before, but trying to remember sort of the urine part or whatever is a bit yucky manufacturing. But if you can get that manufactured, you've got it. And then you can have like Samuel Colt's revolvers, you know. So you got Colt revolvers. You can do revolving rifles. So you got I'm going to go with the cap lock is better. Better than the you know, I am keeping in mind, I don't know how good of a modern like a paintball type, you know, true semi-auto or almost full auto type things. Yeah, and I know you're talking about, you know, animal power, pumping those up like you did the Austrian air rifles that were not quite semi-automatic but getting damn fast. Reloads and modern, if you have modern manufactured air reservoirs and whatnot. Okay, yes, we've now lost our ruler, the Epigoni, which are the next generation, is coming along after the Diadochi are dying. So now we have a moderately decent ruler, as in stats. We have one disloyal. His wife is disloyal. She thinks she should be queen. Okay, we even got her. I think to have long-term peace with this, we will bribe her into Okay, so we need a ruler up here. No. 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 Oh, come on. Okay, 7. Okay, that isn't too bad a stats. We'll also give another job to the denoted. Denoid? I don't know. Family. When you just read things, you don't necessarily be able to pronounce them. Well, at least I can't. So I'll have another job. More trade routes. Flight of a pretender. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Irini, Ingrid one's favorite. Ascended. Egyptian loses legitimacy. Wife moves. Okay, so she moves. And now considered a minor character. Okay, well, we lost her. And I don't know why Rhodes thinks they're socialists, but okay. And we're going to end the episode, not the live stream, but the episode. Hello, Freyr. So everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the episodes. If you want to see more Imperator Rome, please hit the like button, make a comment below. See you next time for more historical gaming.